What shapes human behavior? Is it a natural inclination towards kindness, or perhaps the wounds we carry from past pain? If you take a close look at history, literature, and even your own life, it becomes evident that our experiences, particularly those of suffering and torment, can deeply influence the way we treat others. The more we reflect on the human condition, the clearer it becomes. The individuals who are most capable of inflicting harm on others are often the ones who have been harmed themselves. Carl Jung, the renowned psychologist, encapsulated this idea in a profound statement. The healthy man does not torture others. Generally, it is the tortured who turn into torturers. This statement speaks to the powerful dynamic between suffering and aggression, offering insight into the psychological processes that drive individuals to harm others. It is a stark reminder that unresolved pain, whether personal or collective, can perpetuate a cycle of suffering. The question then arises, can true healing break this cycle, or are we condemned to continually pass on our pain to others? In this essay, we will dive into Carl Jung's idea, examining the psychological and societal implications of suffering, how it shapes behavior, and the vital need for healing in order to break the cycle of harm. We will also explore the broader context of this quote, its relevance in today's world, and how the integration of personal pain can pave the way for healthier individuals and communities. By the end, we will have a clearer understanding of why healing is not just a personal endeavor, but a collective one. Welcome to the Unfolding Journey, a place where we explore deep, thought-provoking concepts that help us understand the human condition and how we can live more consciously and intentionally. If you're someone who is passionate about psychology, philosophy, and personal growth, you've found your community. Through each exploration, we aim to shed light on the complexities of human behavior, providing insights that can help us heal, grow, and build a more compassionate world. Make sure to subscribe to The Unfolding Journey so you don't miss any of our future content on these important topics. If you're ready to dive deep into the mysteries of the human mind and the paths to healing, you're in the right place. Let's continue on this journey together. Carl Jung's quote strikes at the heart of a profound psychological truth. In his work, Jung often emphasized the role of the unconscious mind, particularly in relation to unresolved pain and trauma. He believed that repressed or ignored suffering could manifest in destructive ways. The core of his thinking lies in the idea that we cannot fully heal or transcend pain unless we integrate it, meaningfully addressing the shadow aspects of our psyche, the parts of ourselves that we repress or deny. When we experience pain or trauma, especially in childhood or formative years, it creates imprints on our subconscious. These imprints can shape how we see ourselves, others, and the world around us. For example, someone who grows up in an abusive household may develop patterns of behavior that mimic what they have experienced. These behaviors may manifest as either self-destructive tendencies or as outward aggression towards others. The former victim becomes a perpetrator. Jung's concept of the shadow is especially pertinent here. The shadow refers to the unconscious parts of the psyche that are made up of repressed feelings, desires, and experiences. When we do not consciously acknowledge or deal with our pain, the shadow takes control, leading us to act in ways that are often contradictory to our conscious values and desires. This creates an internal conflict where the desire to be good, loving, and kind is overshadowed by unconscious impulses that can manifest in harmful ways. In his exploration of the psyche, Jung suggested that until we bring these shadow elements to light, by consciously acknowledging and integrating our pain, we remain vulnerable to repeating harmful patterns. This concept suggests that healing is not about denying suffering, but about fully experiencing, understanding, and integrating it into our lives. Only then can we transcend it and break free from the cycle of harm that it perpetuates. The relationship between personal suffering and societal behavior is also critical when we look at Jung's quote. Jung's observation wasn't just about individual psychology, it was also a comment on human history and social dynamics. Throughout history, groups of people who have been oppressed or harmed, whether through violence, colonization, or social injustice, often perpetuate harm against others once they gain power. This isn't necessarily about a conscious decision to harm, but about the unconscious transmission of pain and trauma. For example, in post-colonial societies, there is often a transfer of aggression from the colonizers to the colonized, and from the colonized back to others once they achieve power. The tortured individuals, when given the opportunity, may themselves become the torturers. This cycle of pain and aggression can create a world where cycles of violence, oppression, and harm seem endless. Moreover, when we look at larger societal structures such as patriarchal systems, racial inequality, or economic exploitation, it becomes evident that these systems often arise from deep-seated wounds. The oppressors in these situations are, in many cases, acting out of their own wounds, whether emotional, psychological, or even cultural. Just as an individual might perpetuate harm because they have not healed from their own pain, so too might a society. This societal dynamic reflects Jung's belief that unhealed individuals, and by extension, unhealed societies, tend to pass on their pain in destructive ways. Healing, then, must extend beyond the individual and into the collective consciousness. The way out of this cycle of harm, according to Jung, is through integration. This means acknowledging and embracing all parts of the self, including the painful, repressed aspects. It involves self-reflection, self-awareness, and a conscious effort to confront past trauma and suffering in a healthy, transformative way. Integration isn't an easy process. It requires confronting uncomfortable truths about ourselves, our past, and our society. But it is essential for personal and collective healing. For the individual, this may involve working through past traumas in therapy, seeking support systems that provide a sense of safety, or practicing mindfulness and self-compassion. For a community or society, integration requires addressing historical wrongs, confronting injustices, and creating spaces for healing dialogues and restorative practices. One powerful example of collective healing is the practice of truth and reconciliation commissions, which have been used in countries like South Africa, Rwanda, and Canada. These commissions provide a space for individuals to share their experiences of suffering and injustice, and for perpetrators to acknowledge their wrongdoings. The goal is not just to punish the wrongdoers, but to allow the community to confront its painful past, heal together, and break the cycle of violence and oppression. Healing is not just a passive process. It is an active effort to engage with pain in order to transcend it. This integration requires a deep sense of empathy, both for oneself and for others. By acknowledging our shared humanity and the wounds we carry, we can begin to dismantle the harmful patterns of behavior that stem from unhealed suffering. Compassion plays a crucial role in breaking the cycle of pain and aggression. When we understand that those who harm others often do so because they themselves are hurting, we can approach them with empathy rather than judgment. This doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior, but it does mean recognizing the human experience behind it. The ability to empathize with others' pain and suffering allows us to break down the walls of anger, fear, and distrust that often drive conflict. If we see the wounds in others as reflections of our own wounds, it becomes easier to approach them with compassion, understanding, and a desire to heal. Compassion helps us respond to suffering with kindness and care, rather than with violence or retribution. For instance, in a family setting, when a parent understands the trauma that their child has experienced, they may be more patient and understanding, responding with love rather than anger. Similarly, in global politics, countries that approach each other with empathy, acknowledging past wrongs, and offering pathways for healing, can work towards peace rather than perpetuating cycles of aggression. While individual healing is essential, collective healing is just as important in breaking the cycle of harm. As a society, we must create the conditions for people to heal, grow, and live in peace with one another. This involves dismantling harmful systems and structures, creating equitable opportunities for all, and fostering environments of care and support. It is only when we address the wounds of society, be they racial, economic, or cultural, that we can hope to create a world where the cycle of harm is truly broken. In 2025 and beyond, the call to heal the wounds of both individuals and society will become more urgent. The need for empathy, understanding, and collective action has never been greater. If we are to build a peaceful world, we must start by healing ourselves, individually and collectively, and breaking the cycle of harm that has plagued humanity for so long. Carl Jung's quote resonates deeply with the human experience. It is a reminder that healing is not just a personal endeavor, but a societal necessity. The tortured do not necessarily become torturers by choice. They do so because they have not been given the tools or support to heal their wounds. Until we break the cycle of suffering, we will continue to pass our pain on to others. By integrating our pain, approaching others with compassion, and working toward collective healing, we can create a world where this cycle of harm is no longer perpetuated. If you found this exploration into the relationship between suffering and behavior insightful, don't forget to subscribe to The Unfolding Journey. Join us as we continue to explore topics of psychology, personal growth, and collective healing. Subscribe now and become part of a community dedicated to healing, understanding, and living a more intentional life. Let's keep unfolding the wisdom that helps us break free from the cycles of harm and create a more compassionate world.